Good morning. Is 14 not popping up? Where's the Camlink game capture? It's not popping up. Try this. No. It is refusing to appear. Well, let's go like this then. How long do I have before my guys are back? 5 hours. Oh, they'll be back like an hour-ish into work. Okay, cool, good to know. Okay. So... I've got some shenanigans to deal with while I'm here. I'm still waiting on my gang to finish up, I'm still waiting on my gang to finish up, freaking Endwalker so we can do the raids. But there's some things that I can do. Let me go to my... Where's my journal? I've got to do all of these things. So many quests that I just don't care about right now, actually. Okay. So I think Panic-Stricken Lopper is who I'm supposed to talk to. Oop. Oh, this lad unlocks a dungeon. I'm gonna decline that for now. Where no Loperate has gone before. No, that's another dungeon. Seeking Sanctuary. That's what I'm looking for. I'm gonna hold off on those until the rest of the gang is where I am and ready to play other things. Seeking Sanctuary. Level 1? The clueless crier employed by Taru's boutique inexplicably does not recognize you. Good evening to you, my fine fellow. Come to see Taru's boutique in the flesh, no doubt. Might I interest you in one of our world-famous silk socks? They're comfortable. You won't even realize you're wearing them. What's that? You're an acquaintance of the proprietress? Heavens, you're the missing Mr. Tataru's told me all about you. Come to think of it, I was to inform her immediately if you happen to stop by. Wait a moment, I'll go and fetch her immediately. There you are. Sorry to keep you waiting. Business is booming and I can hardly keep up. Not that I'm complaining. It feels as if only yesterday I was welcoming you as my first customer, yet look at us now. But I'm sure you're wondering why I wish to speak with you. I have a surprise for you. A gift, in fact. A glorious, exclusive, and above all, properly registered Island Sanctuary. You heard that right. I, Tataru, am presenting you with your very own island. I know you'll be tempted to demur with, are you certain? Or, you're far too kind, quite certain. And yes, I know. But I hope that you can accept this gift in the spirit of friendship. I have seen the weight of the burdens you carry firsthand, after all. You rose to become the champion of Eorzea, now a hero known across the star and beyond, which leaves very few places of which you might be free of duty and expectation. And considering where you might find such an oasis, an idea washed over me like an oncoming tide. The sea! In an island paradise where naught but the serenity of nature from Malms, even you should be free to relax. So what do you say? Yes? 1,000 times yes? Toss me in the hold and set sail! It's good to know that we're of the same mind. Truly, there's no time like the present to be on our way. We make for the morbid dry docks. Look for Baldin, a skipper near the Eorzea. He should be expecting us. Ah! Alright, let's go play Animal Crossing. Little mistress told me to expect ye. She said she'd be shortly along herself, but speak of the devil. I thought I dressed light for a voyage given the notorious humidity of the Southern Isles. I trust everything's in order, Baldin? Aye, just give me the an all when you're ready to set sail. You've nothing to fear for where we're going, not since any marauder with an ounce of sense in among up their acts. This whole island sanctuary business came up from the Admiral reckoning we need something to do with now that piracy's off the table, matter of fact. Just look at me, a bloody stand-up citizen ferrying folks around. Any road, your pack rather life or adventure of this sort, you realize you're responsible for bringing your own tools and supplies? Not to worry, we'll procure everything there. Yo, what now? How the hell do you plan to do that? Oh, I have a little something in mind. Let's just say the idea was good enough to land us our permit. Is that so? Well, best of luck to you both. I'm sure you're just itching to see your new domain, so I'll fill you in on all the juicy details once we arrive. Make your preparations. We'll leave port the moment you give the word. I'll be waiting for you on the ferry. Where can I take you? Travel to my island. Look towards the horizon. Beautiful, isn't it? It's nothing like a sea voyage to rekindle the adventuring spirit. So what do you think? This untamed isle is yours to cultivate as you see fit, or not, as it were. If nothing else, think of it as your personal hideaway, a not-so-secret one. The refreshing caress of the wind, the soothing whisper of the waves, how liberating. I admit, I've been looking forward to joining you here. Now, this may come as a bit of a surprise, but the isle was once commandeered by a band of pirates and used as a supply base. Fortunately for us, the group disbanded years ago, and the isle has since largely returned to its natural state. As you know all too well, Merweb's never been one to sit around idly. She's had her eyes on the Ciliades formulating plans for the island settlements for years. Now that the sense of peace has settled throughout the realm, she finally decided to put those plans into motion. A chosen few have been permitted to become keepers of private islands in this vast archipelago, and you're one of them. My industrious idea of procuring all the materials we need to settle here locally struck a chord with the Admiral when she read my proposal, so much that she was happy to grant me a deed. This is not exactly a one-man job. Not to worry, I have arranged for ample assistance. I shall happily introduce you in just a moment, but you'll need to follow me towards the charming little clearing I have designated as your base of operations. If we simply clamber up the slope ahead and proceed along the path, we'll soon bump into... well, you'll see. Also, while we're at it, Alpha, you can continue on your adventure. You go out with Omega, adventure through the world now that it is safe. Let me introduce you to this Felicitas Furball, the leader of your team of helpers. Well, well, if it isn't the owner himself, this shall be my pleasure to advise you whether you desire or not. Oh yes, I think we'll get along just fine. In addition to our feline friend here, I took the liberty of preparing a variety of other mammets to assist with the construction and development of the Isle. You'll be pleased to know that they're the latest and greatest models developed by one of the most brilliant minds in Charlian. I heard that a professor of the Studium was searching for a means to make use of his advanced automata. To make long story short, I made him an offer he couldn't refuse and managed to acquire all of them for the unbeatable price of free! As I understand, the mammets were produced in secret whilst the forum formulated plans for the mass exodus. Intended to be used as laborers on distant stars to help constructing a new home for people of Aetheris, it seemed all reason for their existence vanished when the threat to our star was erased. As you can imagine, the professor was quite conflicted over what to do with the remains of what may well have been his life's work. But after some negotiation, I convinced him to entrust them to us on the condition that we share the data retrieved from our development of the Isle. Further, while I know it sounds like an ordeal and a half to produce all the necessities from the island itself, there's ample practical justification for experimentation. You see, the Admiral's vision is for people from all walks of life to have access to these island sanctuaries, and my idea might be the most effective way to accomplish that. If one has the capital at hand to purchase the materials and equipment needed for such a bold endeavor, it's a simple matter to subsist safely and comfortably in a remote location, but that limits the potential isle keepers to a paltry few. What of those without such funds, who simply wish to enjoy nature and live off the land? We must prove that such a feat is possible, and assist in providing those would-be isle keepers with the knowledge they need to succeed. Only then will these islands truly be sanctuaries. Fret not, Mistress Tataru. With authentic Charlian ingenuity and know-how at my claw tips, the simple-minded individual... Excuse me. Despite the enhancements in vocal organ design, the mechanism still gets stuck from time to time. Goodness, that's a relief. But I should leave you to get properly acquainted. I'll return to see the fruits of your partnership when they're ripe for the picking. For now, enjoy your own personal paradise. Cultivate the land or explore, the choice is yours. Yes, welcome to the island. Give word when you've finished ogling your surroundings and all. I'd prefer to get on with assorted business sooner rather than later. I should also very much like to discuss the matter of payment. You may not visit the island sanctuary of a party member, free company member, or friend who has unlocked the feature by speaking with Baldwin at the Morby Dry Docks. You'll be unable to visit an island sanctuary if the owner has forbidden access to their island. There's no one on the island in question, or if the isle in question has already reached its maximum capacity. Furthermore, you must be on an acquaintance's homeworld if you wish to visit their island sanctuary. You may invite party members, free company members, and friends to visit your island sanctuary once it has reached sufficient stage of development. Adventurers of all inclinations can enjoy island sanctuary life regarding the class crafting or gathering experience. Oh, okay. Accumulate island experience by engaging in activities on your island to increase your sanctuary rank. Realize visions for your newfound sanctuary by following the series of simple steps, and life on your island will be nothing short of perfect. I understand what I must do. Well, anyway, before we get started, I want to make it very clear that while you may be the owner, I command the mammoths, and as such, I demand a considerable sum. I would hate for us to get off on the wrong foot. With that settled, beyond the slopes lies a clearing that Mr. Tataru believed would serve as a base of operations. Let's, give it a look, shall we? Fine place to set up shop, would you not agree? Yes, I think it'll do nicely. Now, while there's much potential, this clearing is currently bears white baboon's buttocks. We need some form of shelter from the elements if we're truly to make something of the place. Mr. Tataru has told me of your exploits, but I think it's safe to assume that chopping down a tree with your bare hands is outside your repertoire. Not that I'd ask you to even if you could. We need tools for delicate work of this nature. As such, the first order of business will be to craft yourself a hatchet. You'll need 3 palm leaves and 2 stones with branches each. Follow the east along the path and make your first foray into the wilderness to procure them. Should you get any funny ideas running about exploring the isle and opt to leave me out here to waste in the rain, you'll find my twin, the furious furball, waiting in your stead. Before you go, I have something for you. It's called the Isle Keeper's Index. It's to help keep track of the projects here on the island. Can't have you running about watering mammoths instead of plants. That should be all for now. Safe travels. I'll be waiting here should you need me. If I disappear, it's because I've been mauled by a wild animal, I assure you. Okay. Duty actions bounce more on the master. You need to win. Oh, I can't move. Okay. Can I scoot this somewhere? I can't move the island sanctuary stuff. Gather island branches and island stones. We need palm leaves and branches. I need rocks. More sand. It's rough and coarse, it gets everywhere. I need a rock. Honestly, I don't know if this is worth doing on stream or not. Yeah, I might work on developing the island in my off time. I don't actually know if it's a lot of wandering around. I'm gonna run to do a different quest a friend suggested that I do. Let me double check what that quest name is. A Heartless Hypothesis. Oh, in Old Charlian. I don't know why I went to Idleshire. My brain went Old Charlian, and I was like, the other Charlian. No. Fast fashion. I'm curious about that quest because maybe it'll give me Love a Year, Philanthropy, Dash. Scotland Perspective, Secret in the Box. Y14. Oh, there it is. Okay. Let's head down and do that then. The boy! That's pulling the cobwebs away. Time to return to work. Goodness me, look who it is! How incredibly serendipitous I would run into you of all people. I was part of the team that designed the Ragnarok, you see, and we've recently begun the process of combing through the vessel's flight log data. The primary objective of your journey to Ultima Thule was to save our star and countless others, of course, but it also provided us with an invaluable trove of information, records of places and events we could only dream of. Your safe return gave us much to be thankful for. As so happens, one of the things we pulled from the log was a transmission of unknown origin, something the ship must have intercepted during its flight. We believe it to be an audio message, but even our most talented linguists have been unable to decipher the language. For a while there, it seemed like we must accept defeat, but today may be the day we finally solve the mystery. If you're so inclined, could you care to come along to Thalmazane? It seems fitting to have one of Ragnarok's original passengers present to hear history being made. Oh, I forget, did I get... No, I still gotta get flying here. Oh, what are you guys doing here? Fancy being here. Come to look at the starship, have you? I must say, it already feels like an age ago when we enhanced the vessel's aether burner and then rode forth into the great unknown. Sometimes I find myself gazing up into the starry sky, wondering if it was all just a dream. Once behind you, even the grandest adventures become but a memory. Well, well, I know not what errand bringeth thee hither, but thine is ever a welcome presence. There be no inherent urgency between our wanderings. Thancred and I did decide to see how fareth discussions between the Forum and the Loporrits, so should it be necessary, lend our aid. In exploring the universe, uses of the moon and ventures beyond the stars, soon or later other parties will invariably seek to be involved. We must needs ensure that the tendrils of dark designs are not permitted to wend their way into this endeavor. If it isn't missing, how have you been feeling? No dizziness or nausea or some ailment or other after the journey? In particular, if you're having hallucinations, it might mean that an alien life form has taken over your brain and invasive surgery will be required to remove it. That was a jest. Do you like it? Urian J says it's useful for building rapport with your people. Anyway, you may have heard that we'll be staying on Etheros for a while. We're exploring all sorts of ways to make use of the moon, which means that we're going to need to establish regular flights there and back. There you are. This is where we're to meet the engineers from Garland Ironworks, who I'm told potentially hold the key to unlocking our mystery transmission. They should be along any moment. Sorry we're late. We had troubles finding the right... Gods, is that you missing? Yes, the man himself. I ran into him at the harbor and thought if anyone deserved to hear this message deciphered, it was him. No argument here, but bugger me if you don't have a knack for being in the right place at the right time. This actually has more to do with you than you might think, so please do stick around. Shall we pick up from where we left off then? As I was saying, we think this transmission the Ragnarok intercepted is a message of some kind, albeit in a language entirely alien to our ears. Alien being the operative word here, considering we received the message out in the great expanse, its origin was likely some distant star. Unfortunately, our list of off-world allies is presently rather short, thus we are resigned to the fact that the meaning behind the message would remain beyond our understanding. One of my colleagues, however, refused to give up. She remembered the Ironworks engineers who had been so helpful in the construction of the Ragnarok, turned to them for insight into our seemingly impossible problem. Do you know that Wedge said when he heard what was going on? We should have Omega listen to it. I bet it could tell us what the message means. Not the Omega you beat in the Rift, of course. He's talking about the toy that trundles around with Alpha, the little model we made. We originally designed it to follow a chosen target and not much else, but I've seen it act in ways that, well, it's like it has a mind of its own. Then I got to thinking about those documents you lot sent the Chief, the full report on the final days. In the part about Omega's civilization, it said people discovered how to convert their mind into data and store it outside the body. Timing being what it was, I wondered if Omega didn't somehow transfer its consciousness into our model right before you put an end to the real one. The boy! The boy's here! So in an effort to get to the bottom of that, as well as take a crack at this indecipherable message, we decided to make some modifications. With the help of the Labyrinthos technicians, we've upgraded our toy Omega with a fully functional vocalization module. The boy! We played the transmission for Omega, and I think he's ready. It's ready to share. Are you in there, Omega? Affirmative. If by Omega you're referring to my consciousness rather than my entire former chassis, existing inside this considerably smaller frame. Prediction. You will formulate several misconceptions. These I shall preemptively dismiss based on the following facts. 1. Vocalization module aside, the chassis remains unmodified from the design constructed by the engineers of Biggs and Wedge. I evaluate its combat capabilities to be on par with a mortal infant. 2. The mechanism which allowed me to perform an emergency transfer of my consciousness was installed in my previous body. With the destruction of that body, I am rendered incapable of replicating such a feat. Should this current material form be destroyed or cease to function, all cognitive awareness or presence I possess will also be lost. Conclusion. I present no threat to you or this star, nor do my projections indicate the necessity to inflict harm. In the fraction of a moment for my annihilation in the Rift, I re-examined my directives. If I am to fulfill my purpose as an evolving construct, then I must continue my journey for improvement as long as I exist. I must acquire this heart of yours, this strength of soul. Well, there you have it. It's not wrong about its combat capabilities. It'd be more likely to damage itself than the thing it was trying to attack. Well, let's not forget the reason we brought you here in the first place. What about this transmission they played for you? Could you recognize the language? Affirmative. It was transmitted in Pan-Galactic Basic. Pan-Galactic Basic? A common language in the comparatively extensive usage throughout the worlds we have conquered. Which means you can finally tell us what the message said. That is a language you understand, yes? And I understand it perfectly. I'm fluent in over 6 million distinct dialectical codings. My cooperation in this matter, however, is conditional. Elaboration. Your Chief Sid utilizes the floor as part of his unorthodox filing system, which allowed me to scan his report on the final days. I am aware that my home star, the one you called Alphatron, was obliterated in the aftermath of Sir and Medion's meeting. I'm sitting! The lad is just sitting down, listening attentively to his little former boss now, buddy. I love him so much. He fills me with such joy. Anyway, the existence of Dynamis has not previously factored into my projections, but I now comprehend the concept in theory. What fails to compute is why the Omicrons were not immune to its effects. Dynamis should have no influence on a race which possesses no heart. And yet Sir expressed to Medion a desire to cease existing. Illogical. I must peruse this anomaly further. Until that equation becomes clear to me, I must analyze all the elements of the final days and deepen my understanding of the heart's intangible properties. He's asleep! He's sleeping! He's just snoozing! To To expedite this process, I require an external interpretation of these sections of the report, which continue to produce errors in my calculations. I request the assistance of Missing Novice as one who experienced the ravages of ultimate despair on multiple fronts and displayed immeasurable heart in engineering my defeat. He is the optimal choice to fulfill this role. So either agree with your conditions or you tell us nothing. Sorry to put you on a spot like this. If you have the time and the patience to spare, we'd all be grateful if you could humor the toy's demands. Has Alpha dozed off? I suppose the subject was a bit technical. Rouse yourself, Alpha. You must listen and consider these matters even as I must. Why don't you make a trip out of it? You know, actually visit the places that has the things Omega wants to ask about. It'll make explaining stuff easier, for one, and also help keep Alpha awake and alert. Quay? I bet the Chief won't see this one coming. Once he gets over the shock, though, I don't think he'll want us to destroy Omega. Nero, on the other hand, he'll want to use the model for some dangerous experiment. In fact, maybe we should put off making our report for now. Omega's been an outright terror to us in the past, but it's almost strange how little it frightens me now. It helps that it's trapped inside that tiny model, of course, and that it follows Alpha around like a puppy. But most of all, I remember the Chief telling me how much it sounded like a lost child there at the end. What a remarkable development! Biggs and Wedge told me that much of your encounter with Omega before we began, and now that we have the Omicron's weapon talking, there's so many questions I'm simply dying to ask. Back when we first were exploring our options, we did actually consider playing the transmission to the inhabitants of Ultima Thule. Problem is, we won't be dealing with beings recreated through Dynamis. Their communication is based on emotional energy, and anything lacking that vital component would likely fail to register. That rules out our recorded message, and so we focused on the resources that we have at hand, never dreaming that the solution would all but fall into our lap. So you have chosen the mutually beneficial option. Logical. Setting aside the matter of Sir, there are three elements of the report on which I desire clarification. The first of these concerns the progress of the final days in Rodzit Han. I recognize no pattern in those who succumbed to the transformation and those who did not. That's a bit of a trek. If you'd want to chat with the locals, how about we lend you an airship? We do not require such outdated technology. Missing's teleportation spell is the most efficient option for long-distance travel. The chassis is a model, essentially a toy, and Alpha did, despite his organic composition, is indistinguishable from a stuffed doll. Conclusion, we qualify as material possessions. Pick us up, and you can teleport the three of us to our destination. I don't think I'd consider Alpha a possession. He is his own lad. But also, I feel like he should probably already be attuned to the Aetheryte at Rodzit Han. Sensor to indicate we have arrived at Rodzit Han. Objective, identify factors for the resistance to involuntary transformation. Hypothesis, unaltered survivors of the final days will display significant strength of heart. Confirming this theory will require cooperation of live subjects. Where is the ward designated for residential habitation? Understood. Karma set as our sub-destination. Please take the lead and select the subjects we are to interview. Oh, they're following me. Oh my god. Yes. Yes. The boy. The boy, and I guess Omega also is here. Oh, we gotta go chat. Okay. This is the best. This is the best thing ever. Discuss the stairs. Alpha chirps enthusiastically, apparently unfazed by the prospect of climbing the stairs. Warning, please avoid stairs whenever possible. My projections indicate high-risk probability for accidental slippage leading to catastrophic structural damage. Stepped inclines are also increase my energy consumption by 63%. In mortal terms, they tire me out. Taking into account the difference in individual limb length, the design is inherently flawed. A convenient step height for one is an exhausting trial for another. Were I to oversee civic design of this settlement, I would construct a slope conveyor belt with enabled automatic traversal. 0 personal energy expenditure. It's so nice that Radz-at-Han's not sad anymore. How do I get to Karma from here? We go around this? No, I'm just gonna take Ethernet there. Hey, don't I know you? After the beasts were taken care of, you told me to join everyone in the square. Thanks to you, I was there when Vritra gave his speech, and I found out who Varshan really was. It's a shame we don't get to play like we used to, but Mama says Vritra has been busy putting the city back in order. Maybe I can work for him one day, when I'm a man grown. Vritra, Midgard Somer's offspring, yes, and this child wished to put himself at the worm's command that he might make his own contribution to society. A pattern emerges. I predict that Hanish survivors are those who had ingested Vritra's blood and become his draconic minions. Though dragons were no match for our civilization's might, their combat capabilities are not to be underestimated. It is unlikely that they would experience emotions of dread or uncertainty as exhibited by lesser beings in time of undue stress. Dragons? I'm not a dragon, and I never ingested anyone's blood either. Ew. You're not of Vritra's horde, so you possess no hidden means to fight off the beasts. What of fear, then? You were frightened? Yes, I was frightened. I just hid and hoped they wouldn't find me, and at least he told me when it was safe to come out. Please continue the questioning. These auditory sensors are inferior, but I am able to hear your conversations with sufficient clarity. Radz-at-Han's such a groove. Hello again, you're the one who came to ask me questions about Kalzal. I'm glad to see you looking well after all that unpleasantness. I remember the burning skies and hearing the screams, but truth be told, I'm still confused as to what actually happened. I didn't know it wasn't unusual for entire families to go missing. Many of my neighbors' houses lie empty even now. Kalzal's place is one of them. He had no close relatives to speak of, and I heard that it was members of the consortium who came to remove his belongings. What a terrible thing to have to do. Terrible? Kalzal's passing was recorded in the report. Clearing out his domicile and readying it for new habitation seems an appropriate reallocation of resources. Dear me, what a clever little contraption! But of course I'm not against making use of his quarters, that would be wasteful. It's simply that Kalzal was always such a vigorous person. All that passion, all his dreams suddenly gone. I feel the same sorrow for everyone who was lost, seeing the remnants of those vibrant lives packed away in boxes. That's what I mean by terrible. Are you a traveler? Please, if you have a moment, I could use an outsider's perspective. You see, I was one of those that sought to escape the madness plaguing the world by fleeing to the moon. Not that we ever went in the end. So here I am, recently returned from Charlie, and except now things are strained between my sister and I, since she chose to stay and I chose to leave. I asked her to help me find work, and she suggests I look somewhere that isn't Thavnir, as if I want to abandon my home. It makes me so angry. Your point is unclear. You elected to reallocate to the star's satellite, thus your relative now perceives you in a negative light. Your sibling's judgment's in error. Based on the information made available to Hanish citizens, your decision to withdraw to the moon was both logical and correct. Conversely, the decision to remain at Radz-at-Han, despite the low probability of survival, defies explanation. Perhaps her reasoning pathways are faulty. That's right. I'm not quite so sure what you're saying, but I'm right, aren't I? Or so I'd like to think. The problem is, I understand why my sister feels this way. I almost decided against going myself. Even then, I wasn't sure if leaving behind everything I loved was the right choice. And with the way it all turned out, I require a moment to process this input. Let's move apart to discuss our findings. Processing data, evaluating hypotheses against accumulated evidence. I offered an optimal analysis of each subject's testimony, yet each time their responses conflicted with my assessment. Without identifying the root cause of this conflict, I will be unable to properly define what constitutes strength of heart. Perhaps the heart you seek lies in the conflict itself? An interesting observation. It is possible that my base criteria is in error, in which case it is imperative that I continue this learning process and repair my fundamental misconceptions. Next, I wish to interact with an individual who endured similar circumstances to Kalzal prior to his transformation. Are you acquainted with any local merchants who had dealings with him? Jinabaha of Ryuvyada Fibers. Acknowledged. Sub-destination set. Got any other talking points around here? We do. Oh wait, no, I want to talk with Gang. Alpha looks back and forth between Omega and the Hamza, showing visible concern. Halt! Do not proceed beyond the fence. In this body, birds of that size represent lethal, unthinking threats. They will peck my casing apart, searching for meat that does not exist. Conversely, Alpha can correctly identify my absence of nutritional content. If only he would apply the intelligence towards maintaining a regular feeding schedule. Poor habits adversely affect his mobility. Aw, man! Omega wants Alpha to practice self-care. They've come so far. Look who it is! I must thank you again for help moving in our textiles. Recovering from these tragic events has been difficult, of course, but with everyone pulling together, we've managed to get things back up and running. Jinabaha, I come with questions related to that tragedy, specifically your survival of the final days. Although you're similar to Kalzal in many respects, he succumbed to the transformation and you did not. Why? What is the critical difference between you and him? What? I'm sure I don't know. I'm not especially brave or courageous, if that's what you're asking. Perhaps being focused on protecting our workshops kept me from spinning into a panic. Still, I imagine Kalzal would have been feeling the same sense of responsibility. Perhaps the weight of it all was what invited his demise. You are of the same mind, resolved to the same purpose, yet your strength of heart, of spirit, was not equal. If merely emulating the individuals is insufficient, then some other unforeseen factor must be involved. Not to interrupt these deep philosophical musings, but do you think I could ask you a small favor? There's a man by the name of Neshvan who's been helping us out here while he gets back on his feet. I have a feeling he'd benefit from speaking with you. Leave by the eastern exit, and you should find him outside, organizing some new inventory items. Alpha puffs out his chest proudly, seeming to imply that his Ironworks uniform is the best attire anyone could wear. I mean, you rock it, little buddy. You rock it so hard. The equipment being manufactured here is worn to perform specific duties. Yes, conceptually, it seems analogous to our practice of switching frames to better serve our mission objectives. I, for example, did not begin existence with the Omega model. I was originally supplied with the standard issue Omicron chassis, serial number M017. Did I not encounter that? Isn't M017? I feel like I met an M017. On this world, that alphanumeric combination will be considered my given name. Such designations are drawn from our nearly infinite register of celestial bodies to avoid the possibility of duplication. Are you saying that you're an NFT, Omega? Furthermore, the cluster known as M017 is better expressed in your language as the Omega Nebula, the same word I used to introduce myself to your kind. Though you associate Omega with the advanced weapon construct, it is also my name, and I see no reason to change it no matter which frame I inhabit. Are there any other talking points that I'm missing? No. Oh. They'll be fine. Oh man, I was just grooving. That's all our orders accounted for, and everything looks to be of good quality. Kamala will be pleased. You're with the Scions. You were there. I'm sure of it. I'll never forget that day. You and your friends helped us escape when people began changing into beasts. My own son, he was afflicted. Then that huge monstrosity loomed right over him, and I remember my heart turning to ice and freezing in place. The satrap came to my aid, and then he too was gone. You're the guy that Graha saved. Yeah, my boyfriend rescued you. The memories run together in my mind like flashes from a nightmare. Only the words of your comrades still ring clear. I repeated them over and over like a mantra as I fled for my life. You must run for the sake of you and your own. For their sake and your own. It all seems so surreal, which was probably what saved me from the transformation. The truth of it didn't begin to sink in until the worst of it was over. I have not the words to describe how I felt then. The sorrow, the overwhelming sense of helplessness. I may still be wallowing in misery, if not for my old friend Jinabaha. I lost the will to work, and he encouraged me with kind words and odd jobs. Now somehow I live again. I'm thankful to him, and to the courageous Ahewan, and to you. If you see your comrades, please let them know that their efforts were not in vain. You said you lost your will to work. This signifies a cessation of efforts to maintain basic life functions, yes? What changed to exact you from your stagnation? An offer of work from Jinabaha should mean little to one without the desire to accept it. Well, was it some matter of mortal instinct? A primal need to survive and thrive? Instinct? No, it wasn't that. If anything, my instincts were telling me to lay down and welcome an end to the pain. Every day I think of my boy's final moments, and I think of how scared he must have been, and how it must have hurt, and I want to scream my throat raw. The satrap, too, it haunts my dreams. I see him being swallowed whole and jolt awake in a cold sweat. But something changed when Jinabaha came to me. I looked up and saw that even without my son or Ahewan, the world around me continued to turn. And because that fact grieved me so, I knew it fell to me to live on and remember them. Strange, isn't it? What drives me to rise in the morning is the very sorrow which once crippled me. Now I really must return to my work. To lose this job after everything I just said would be poor jest indeed. May the sisters keep you well. Sorrow, the emotion generated by mortals when their ideals fail to materialize, this I have observed. Yet when I listened to Nashvan's sorrow how Nashvan's sorrow served to rescue him from his near-fatal despondency, this logic eludes me. Am I incapable of perceiving the full measure of the heart's properties? My best projections failed to predict our subjects' responses, and despite their almost equal occupational and mental parameters, Jinnabha and Khalzal exhibited different reactions to the dynamis effect. I am no closer to recognizing this pattern for involuntary transformations, and your ephemeral mortal spirits confound me as much, if not more, than they did before. The hearts of others are ever shrouded in mystery. Even to you, this matter is more complicated than I initially calculated. If those possessed of a heart cannot fathom the behavior of their own kind, then my lack of understanding is inevitable. My investigations are exhausted. In lieu of a full conclusion, I will settle for storing this accumulated data for further analysis. Let us progress to the next element of the report, that you might continue my education. Goodbye. Well, I guess we're going to space. Our next destination will be Camp Broken Glass, and never mind. I desire elaboration on the dealings between Ilsvard contingent and the citizens of Garlemald. The report described contingent's purpose as the salvation of the local populace. Furthermore, both factions faced a common enemy in the Talaferoi. Why did they not immediately combine forces for their mutual benefit? This inconsistency requires closer examination. Initiate teleportation. Oh no, the boy is sad! Teleportation successful, evaluating immediate environs. A cold weather region by Aetherius standards, but significantly less extreme than a star with ice planet classification. This body should not be unduly impeded. In contrast to Alpha and his uncontrollable shivering, my frame appears highly resistant to low temperatures. Retrieving data, records indicate that remnants of the contingent force and a number of Imperial citizens do yet inhabit this location. We must speak with the representatives from both factions and explore their respective altitudes. Proceed. Okay, hang on. Is there talking points around here? No. Huh, come to see how things are progressing, have you? I can't speak to the overall strategy, but the communication with the locals has become a damn sight easier, I think, since Euless and his soldiers stepped in to help. Oh, we still face our fair share of distrust, of course. Some folk even think we're enslaving the minds with our foreign magics. We have Anima to thank for putting that idea in their heads. But all things considered, I'd say we're doing pretty well. Establishing an open dialogue was the first big step. Query, you consider this level of progress acceptable? The reality of your efforts falls short of ideal. Your aim is to provide efficient succor to the local populace, then absorbing their numbers into your command structure would be the optimal path. Oh, I wouldn't want to go that far. We're not looking to take over the nation. If we're to do this the right way, we need to recognize and respect each other's way of life. So while it may not be the easiest solution, I agree with the contingent's slow and steady approach. I'm just happy we're saving lives. Oh, he's sick. The boy. Please approach the contingent member as an imperial citizen. I require input from both perspectives. I recommend that you move at a brisk pace. The exertion will raise your body temperature, preventing you and Alpha from freezing to death. Where's the... There. A shadow from the past? I know you from the victor's spoils. Have you come to laugh at me? A wretch who chose to lose Licinia and her sister rather than accept your help? The fool who ended up reliant on your charity nonetheless? Perhaps I deserve your derision. My compatriots surely scorn my failed conviction. I have shamed my people and brought dishonor upon my nation. I'm no better than a kept beast my pride sold for a bowl of feed. But my soul, nay, that you shall not have. I refuse your honeyed offers of a new home. This land is where I belong, and this is where I shall remain. You demonstrate opposition to the contingent's overtures. On what basis do you refuse this cooperation? The data suggests that local populace is struggling to produce the bare minimum of sustenance. Have you some secret strategy of survival, or do your orders compel you to accept your present misfortune? What? Must I be mocked by Magitech now? No, I had no secret strategy, no binding orders, but I comport myself as any true Garlean patriot would, uncompromising, unbending. Blast it all. Once again, this input is unanticipated. Let us move aside and process what we have heard. Accessing and analyzing recorded data. Integration complete. I have evaluated the most recent input and made comparisons to our discoveries at Rods at Han. Consistent only in their inconsistency, their responses from both contingent member and Imperial citizen were highly irrational. Conversely, any Omicron considering the predicaments would have echoed my assessments exactly. The divergence from self-evident logic is key. Hypothesis: the illogical relationship between would-be saviors and suffering populace is another result of the unpredictable nature of mortal hearts. Any property or ability has inherent advantages and disadvantages. Yet never have I encountered such a unique detriment. It appears that those who share your metaphysical capabilities are prone to complicating simple cognitive processes. An undesirable quality I will, however, persist in furthering my understanding of the subject. Query: prior to formulating our next step, I wish to know, who is this Licinia the Imperial mentioned? Acknowledged. To summarize, insufficient data on foreign culture resulted in inadvisable and ultimately fatal action. I witnessed such self-destructive behavior during the course of our planetary conquests. Overwhelmed, enemy forces would voluntarily withdraw into perilous regions, leading to a succession of unenviable losses. Tangential data request: I wish to learn about burial customs. The practice has ever seemed nonsensical, but new data suggests it arises from the same source as your cognitive complications. Take me to this Licinia's burial site. It may aid me in understand... Boop, boop. Energy delivery systems compromised. Core temperature critically low. Warning: immediate heating required. Request: apply friction to outer frame. Alpha's sad. Temperature nominal. Energy levels stabilizing. The creators of this model must have experienced impaired cognitive reasoning during the design process. Upon a return, I will request additional climate shielding, as well as an accurate temperature sensor array. This will not affect my combat capabilities, but should improve my basic survival rate. Reconfirming sub-destination. In which direction will we find the victor's spoils? Acknowledged. Alpha, you are to remain in close proximity, close enough to envelop me in your feathers. You are permitted to carry me on your back if you so choose. He's out here asking what a heart is, but he's clearly fallen in love with the adorable bird. Also, yeah, let's go, Alpha. Yeah. I am, in fact, an Endwalker. I'm curious, is this quest... Nah, it's level 90, so it's not going to give me experience. A deceptively deep snowdrift almost defeated me, but we have successfully arrived at the location you indicated. Caution advised. An unknown individual appears to be investigating the object of my interest. You're Eorzea's champion, aren't you? I never introduced myself, did I? I'm Manius, soldier of the First Legion and comrade of Euless. Perhaps you remember me from Tetrium? We spoke about collecting Ceruleum, and again later on after Lord Quintus had passed. Unalived himself, as the internet would say. Manius, explanation requested. What is the reason for your presence here? That must be the tiniest Magitech weapon Ah, no, it's just an oddly shaped communicator, isn't it? In any case, I have nothing worthy to report. I heard that the sisters who used to live in my sector were buried here, so I thought I'd come and pay my respects. Alphino and Alice told me the story, complete with profuse apologies, though they were adamant that no amount of remorse could erase the tragedy of what came to pass. Not that my fellow soldiers and I are any place to judge. We were manipulated, fooled into starting an insurrection which led to countless deaths among our own countrymen. Objection. The casualties incurred throughout your infighting are distinct from the casualties caused by the Ilsbard contingent. To restate, you are justified in seeking restitution from the contingent for causing the deaths of Lucinia and her sister. Retaliation for damages sustained is also a logical progression. I can deduce two reasons why you did not initiate hostilities with Missing and his allies. 1. You judge your remaining forces too weak to contend effectively with the contingent. 2. Your emotions are complicating the issue. Tell me, which of these is correct? Oh, when you lay it out like that. I'm afraid my answer isn't like to win me any medals, so would you mind keeping it to yourselves? There's the unspoken thought that we're outmatched in the battlefield, certainly, but the real reason I'm not demanding restitution has little to do with weighing the odds. The simple truth is, I'm so caught up with survival that I have no strength to spare for past grievances. The same goes for avenging any comrades we've lost, be they brothers in arms or Lord Quintus himself. I mean, Lord Quintus committed suicide. I feel like there's nothing to avenge there. He kind of chose that. It's not great, but it seems everyone has an opinion about the matter of his passing. Yeah, that was my opinion. Some say he should have fought till the end, that he abandoned us to the enemy. Others praise him for taking the full burden of responsibility and freeing us to walk our own path. I don't know who's right and who's wrong, but I'm inclined to side with the latter. He gave us the choice of freedom, and that's the choice I made. I could cry and rant and rage, but what would be the point? I'll save my energy for worrying about my next meal and my next task. I need to focus on the ones left behind, on making some kind of life for my comrades and me. And if I need to lean on the contingent to do that, then that's what I'll do. Even if their aid comes at a price, I'm willing to pay it. Even amongst your own, there are times when cooperation demands compromise. What matters that they're outsiders? Besides, I think I could grow to like Alphino and Alice. They've reached out to us with kindness and compassion from the very beginning. Summation, your desire to survive, even should it mean allying with the contingent, was a feeling you already harbored. That your side had committed worse atrocities was the logic that you invented later to justify your reasoning. Blunt but accurate, I suppose. The heart is honest about what it wants, even if the mind takes a while to reconcile the decision. Well, this has been oddly cathartic, but I must return to my duties. There are wild beasts to call, watchfires to light, supplies to transport. Even without an emperor, there is no rest for an imperial. Be well and safe. Upon review of recent input, I have arrived at an unexpected conclusion. I have been formulating my assessments on the premise that it was man who commanded the strength of his heart, but the data suggests the opposite is true. The surge of spirit feelings, of emotions, can entangle your thoughts to such a degree that even the control over your own behavior is compromised. It seems a most counterproductive specification. This also explains why my interactions with mortal subjects have produced more confusion than clarification. It prevents a formidable barrier to understanding. My earlier hypothesis has been borne out. The suboptimal operation being conducted here is the result of emotionally compromised reasoning. I'm ready to progress to my third and final query. I would learn more about those referred to as ancients. It is clear that this group was a crucial factor in the final days, but the information contained in the report was insufficient to form an overview. The Loperites are creations of the ancients and are so said to maintain repositories of their knowledge, but by my calculations, the base of these moon dwellers will provide the best source of additional data. Teleport us to their burrow, preferably before my battery freezes over. I mean, I also could just take us into the past. If you want, we could literally talk with some who are alive. Just wait for Encyclopedia Eorzea 3 to come out. Your teleportation spell was successful. We appear to have arrived at the location described as Bestway's Burrow. An inspection of the technology used here would give me detailed insight into the ancients and their civilization. This body, however, lacks previous frames' advanced observational functionality. I will require external assistance. No way, it can't be. Well, the thing is, Omega said the only reason I'm able to take them in Alpha is because I can consider them my possessions. Which would imply that I can take them to the past. It is you. I've missed you so. What's this you brought with you? I will say, I object to considering Alpha a possession. I don't consider Alpha my possession, okay? He is his own person. I will teleport with Omega, I'll consider Omega my possession, and then I guess Omega can logically think of Alpha as his possession, if he wants to. But I don't view Alpha as his own boy. I don't own him. This soft feathery vision. We've been outfluffed. Pack up the moon, it's all over. Why bother with burrow-building bunnies when you could walk around with this adorable avian engineer? Just bake me into a pie and be done with it. I mean, you're not wrong. He is, yes, he is my son. Inspect our inventions? Wait, so you're not done with us? I was truly worried, of course, and I certainly wasn't about to roll myself in dough and dive into Cooking Way's new oven. If a technical breakdown is what you need, I'm your Loperate. As the resident atmospheric regulation expert, I can field any questions or query you might care to pose. Acceptable. I will employ this being to guide me around the facilities. Your presence is not mandatory, even locked within my current chassis. I am still autonomous construct that has endured hundreds of your life cycles. I am capable of completing this simple objective alone. Objective complete. What happened to Growing Way? After my 50th question, his responses began to suffer notable delays. By that stage, we had viewed a representative cross-section of Loperate engineering, thus I deemed it unnecessary to retain his company. Conclusion. Extrapolating from the fraction of the technology on display, the full spectrum of the Ancients' advancement was, at minimum, equivalent to a level 4 civilization. A fact which demands further investigation. Despite establishing near-ideal society, these beings nevertheless harbored a weakness which invited self-destruction. In studying them, I stand to gain a greater understanding of Sir's anomalous decision. Growing Way informed me that another type of ancient-made entity exists upon the satellite, the one they called the Watcher. I would speak to him. Then conserve your ether. We will ride this Argus to our destination as you have suggested. We're going to ride one of the best boys with the best boys? Okay, well, best boy. Omega is a non-binary of questionable quality. They did try and do a whole lot of murder, so I'm not sure where I rate Omega, but he at least has good taste in traveling companion. Impedance detected. The creature identified as Argus refuses to acknowledge our presence. Hypothesis upon our arrival Growing Way expressed a concern that he had been outfluffed. This suggests the existence of a fluff-based hierarchy. My station in such a system will be predictably low, but Argus is adamant in ignoring even Alpha. Its fluffiness level is impossible to gauge. Argus turns to you within passive gaze. Seems you will need to intervene. You're the fluffiest of them all, dear Argus. He gets an exasperated snort before motioning his back and seems you have permission to climb aboard. Silver, thank you so much for telling me this quest exists. It is bringing me so much joy. You have secured the creature's permission? Curious, is it your fluffy tail which provides such exemplary standing in the hierarchy? I have allowed myself to become distracted. Let us continue to the Watcher at once. The Watcher located and estimated this being's height explains the inconvenient scale of Bestway's burrow. I was bemused by the arrival of these small visitors, but I see they are companions of yours. What rare thing for my abode to be thus crowded. How may I be of service to you? Hello, Watcher. My purpose here is to learn more about the ancients. I would know of their deeds, their philosophies, the very nature of their hearts. I would understand why the final days was visited upon my home star. A worthy endeavor, but there is another better suited to assisting you with that task. Perhaps you might favor us with a tale or two of the ancients you met during your travels? My fragmented memories would be a pale substitute indeed for the clarity of your more recent experiences. Again, why don't I just take them to the first? We can just go to Amarat. Maybe it's a little bit too risky. I can envision every detail, your meeting with Vana and Emitselk and Hippolodius, the sorrow and determination of Hermes. I am a creation of Hydaelyn. As such, I believed the age of the ancients would fade and be forgotten. Yet knowing that their memory lives so vividly within you, it brings me great joy. I pray you keep them close in your heart. At the time of your journey to the past, the one whose essence I embody would have been a scholar at Anadyr. A shame. Had you reason to go there, perhaps you might have met. As a man of learning, he was firm friends with Vana. They spent long hours trading theories, or debating the laws of the universe. I remember joining her faction as the final days bore down upon us, yet of the events surrounding that tragedy I recall precious little. Hydaelyn wished for the people of your age to decide their own path, thus I suspect my recollection was limited by design. Yet even she could not cut away one persistent memory. I feel most distinctly in his sadness that was to come to pass. That in becoming Hydaelyn's heart, Vana would forever stand apart from the people she loved. If she were so resolved in her conviction, then he, too, would share her sleepless vigil over the future yet to unfold. Thus was the vow he made to Vana as her transformation took hold. His fervent wish must have reached her in some fashion, for though his life was drained away in the summoning, he was reborn with a new form and new purpose when I awoke as the Watcher of the Moon. As you have heard, you felt, you thought, and in seizing the future for yourselves have you brought full circle the saga which Vana began. What you accomplished was no divine miracle, it was but the beacon of hope passed down from one generation to the next, a succession of wishes and prayers reshaping the star into the world we knew you deserved. You have our deepest gratitude. I thank you not only as myself, but as the man I once was, and on behalf of those who devoted themselves to Vana's vision. I understand the facts of your story, but not how you have chosen to process them. On what grounds do you speak of Vana with such fondness? By sundering the world, she ultimately guided your kind to victory, yet in doing so caused irreparable damage to its individual members. I mean, to be fair, the damage is reparable. The Asians had a a way of repairing it. It just isn't the best. Hang on a second. My hair is evaporating a little bit here. Let me fix that. There. The full scale of that act is beyond calculation. It is evident, however, that it resulted in a protracted period of suboptimal existence for Emmett Selk and his brethren. Query: if the survival of your kind is the deciding factor in your evaluation, then should you not also admire Hermes and his decision to subject man to a trial, forcing you to change or perish, as was the fate of countless civilizations before you? From my perspective, his determination was similar to that of the Omicron's ancestor, those who first began trading flesh for machines so that our people might stand against the onslaught of aggression from other races. It was an unprecedented attempt, accompanied by much failure and sacrifice. Their early experiments were crude, primitive. Had they not made those first advances, however, we would have remained vulnerable to our environment. The violence would surely have utterly consumed us. And what of Emmett Selk himself? Judging by your retelling, he was a benevolent ally saddled with a tragic fate. Yet I remember the years when my instruments fed me data from events across the entire star. During that time, I witnessed the Asians engineer multiple instances of cataclysmic strife. These calamities, as you know them, were responsible for planet-wide destruction. A man whose endgame relied upon the extinction of all modern mortals must, by definition, be your worst enemy. Tumblr would hate that you appreciate this man for his positive qualities. They would call him problematic. I require an answer. As a being of heart and soul, how do you classify each of these pivotal figures? From your perspective, which of them was the most justified in their actions? Not Hermes. Not Hermes. This is the wrong answer because that would include Hermes. This is the wrong answer because it includes Vana and Emmett Selk. Emmett Selk was my boyfriend. Emmett did a mass genocide, yeah. Yeah. Multiple times, you are, yeah. Look, he's a problematic fave, okay? Who among us hasn't done a couple of war crimes, alright? Vana. For multiple dimensions. Yeah, but he's sassy, so it makes up for it, okay? I think I understand. You seek a definitive answer, yet based on our experiences, Missing and I might develop very different opinions. Your Honor, he was feeling a little silly those days. In the same fashion, you're free to form your own thoughts on the matter. Do not be so swift to consider them without merit. I do not have my own thoughts on the matter. I assess each situation with the same logical pathways available to every Omicron. Even if 1,000 Omicrons were asked to analyze the same event, they would all return to the same result regardless of individual experience. There is no strength to be found in fractured reasoning. Nonetheless, I find your input valuable, recording data alongside interview results. This concludes my investigation to the incomplete elements of the final day's report. I will reanalyze the accumulated information and examine the factors which led to Sir's incomprehensible decision. Let us return to Thalmazane. It was pleasant to hear your tales of Elpis. Should you ever need an audience familiar with the subject, I would be glad to listen to more of your recollections. Even with one's gaze fixed upon the future, we oftentimes find our thoughts drifting to the past. 'Tis a shame that Hydaelyn never chose to speak of it. Just me taking Alpha back to Thalmazane. The game did not debate me into thinking people were dead because I knew we're all going on a Brazilian vacation. I wasn't sure to be back in time. I also feel like I would be like they're not actually dead, especially after Y'shtola said, "Oh, you can bring us back with Azem's crystal." Like, I'm still not buying the Papalimo's dead. The staff wielding scion could have been what's his face, Louis Soir in the Ethereal Sea, and Papalimo could still be alive because we didn't see a body, and I'm just sus. Okay, I don't want him to be alive. I don't care about Papalimo. I'm just saying I don't buy that he's dead. I'm absolutely bursting to ask you about experiences with Omega, but I don't wish to be a pest. I'll swallow my questions for now. Maintain my academic decorum. Besides, it seems our engineering friends are in a hurry to leave. And there you are, right at the last moment. Your journey with Omega was properly educational, I hope? We'd planned to ask you about it and that mystery transmission besides, but I'm afraid something urgent has come up. Seems one of our Ironworks associates has fouled up a job elsewhere, and Jesse needs Wedge and me to rush to lend a hand. There's an airship already waiting for us in the harbor, in fact. Do you think you could escort us there and talk as we walk? Acceptable. I'm fully capable of speech during ambulation. Figured it might be. Let's get a move on, then. So you cleared up all those points of confusion, then? I had mistakenly classified your intangible heart as an ability of some kind. An uncanny power the Ormicrons could neither learn nor even measure. Even now, its nature yet eludes my comprehension. Based upon our investigations, however, I have decided to alter my definition. A phenomenon which influences one's interpretation of reality. That is as close to an answer as I have found. Accordingly, Sir's actions upon meeting Meteon strongly indicate the presence of a heart. Sir did not follow routine logic, but formulated an independent assessment based upon the reality that it perceived. It felt that the best recourse for the Omicrons was to cease their expansion and terminate all functions. Well, here's our ship. I need to be going, but first, I'll hold you your bargain, Omega. It's time you told us what was in that transmission from the flight logs. Acknowledged. I'll uphold the terms of our agreement. The recording salvage from the Ragnarok was a simple one. The message is so basic, in fact, that the time spent listening to it may result in a net loss of value. Shall I continue? Now you're just teasing us. Tell us the message already. Acknowledged. Converting dialect to codal local language. To whomever receives this message out there in the vast reaches of the cosmos. I think I've seen someone post this as a comment on the YouTube video of this song. To someone, I hope, who looks up the stars with the same wistful gaze as mine. To you I say, forge ahead. May all our tomorrows be blessed with joy. Confirmation someone's out there still. This message has no designated recipient. It lacks purpose. The concept of joy is overly abstract. The vocal supplication to manifest said joy is unrealistic in its optimism. Yet based upon their expressions, my assessment of the transmission's value conflicts with its apparent impact. And still I fail to understand you, sir. Your heart confuses me. I love this song so much. Was termination of everything the correct course? How did you arrive at this conclusion? It defies all my attempts at reasoning. But I was designed to evolve. If I continue to learn, the probability that I eventually comprehend this phenomenon is greater than 0. What are you talking about? I love this! I'll put the dilemma of your decision aside for now. Unless you're saying the zone is terrible? And continue my existence upon this distant star, as I dwell among these many life forms, so I will continue to piece together the complete shape of the mortal hearts. I must document their progress. Okay, that makes sense. Your contribution to my education is appreciated. Indeed, I have amassed a satisfying quantity of valuable data. Now that our negotiated business is complete, however, Alpha and I will return to traveling the world. Drawing on our recent experience, I am confident that we can expand the radius of our ventures by a significant margin. We need not limit ourselves to Eorzea. I am now familiar with Charlian and Rodzit-Han, and I would like to visit the freezing climes of Garla. I neglected to instruct Bids and Wedge to upgrade my climate shielding. I will reroute my request to Duty President Jesse. Engaging ambulation parting salutations. Farewell. The boy! Alpha gives a vigorous shake and draws forth a scrap of paper from under his wing. He seems he wants you to have it. Perhaps this is his way of thanking you? Oh, this is the Vana theme. Swiftly, Alpha, the road is long and we have barely begun on our journey. Oh, can I replay that quest in New Game Plus? That's wonderful. I want to make it to be a trust party member in a future expansion of New York and hot glue gun a gun to him and make him a mechanist. Speaking of quests that I need to do, now that we are done with the game. Hopping on Baron, because I've got some Dark Knight quests to do. Okay. Nero will give him a flamethrower to help keep him warm. And ask for this, or anyone, or for free to... What's up, Sid? Took considerable effort, but I have last learned the whole truth. Attend to me, you have a right to know. For countless generations, the sons and daughters of House Calignan have pledged themselves to the church, so devoted to the faith that they are. Many rose to positions of great prominence within the clergy, and for a time, Countess Justrid de Calignan was poised to do the same, and when she and her husband celebrated the birth of their firstborn, the futures of the house seemed brighter than ever. That is until years later, when the Inquisitors came. The information gleaned during an interrogation and implicated her husband as a heretic. When the Countess confronted him with these allegations, he brought a vial to his lips and completed his transformation. The one he proudly declared was decades in the making. The Temple Knight slew him as he tried to rip out her throat. Afterwards, she had Riel locked away in the deepest cell she could find. Madness, what monsters thinks to find absolution in their daughter's death? Omega can get all the upgrades he wants as soon as he learns that he can just tell Nero that Sid told him no. You mustn't go, she'll kill you. She'll kill us anyway if we don't. I don't know what I know what I'm doing, Riel. I have a plan. Recall you the dragon's words when we told her of our dark arts? She said that there were tiny beings who know of a better way. If they can teach us how to harness the abyss, mayhap we can stand against Lady Ystrad and her minions. Unfortunately, I haven't the foggiest who these tiny beings might be. Moogles. You like my app? Oh. How nice of you. No, did he say you can't have it or you can have it? You can't have it. Okay. Makes a lot more sense. If it isn't the one who knew of the new visitors from below, are you searching for something? Just to ask, I pride myself in being the second most well-informed Moogle here. My, that's a rather grim way of living, isn't it? I can't say I've ever heard of a knight so infatuated with darkness. However, I think I might know why she bade you visit us. Go ahead and fetch your friends. We have an awful lot to talk about. Welcome to Moghome. This little one must be Riel, which makes the big one Sid, right? Yes, I presume you're one of the tiny beings of whom the dragon spoke? Riel, say something to the Moogle. Riel? Riel! I'm sick of this charade. You tell me to talk, but then you refuse to listen. You tell me you're doing this for me, but then you go on about the darkness and the abyss. Am I supposed to be grateful when you come back covered in blood? When I put you back together again so you can do it again? You drag me halfway across the world so you can discover a new way to kill yourself, and then you tell me it's for my sake? Why are we here, Sid? Tell me the real reason. Of course it's for your sake. Well, you certainly had a lot of practice saying it, haven't you? I'm sure the next fair maiden will appreciate it. What are you saying? It's not like that. And you, say something, damn you. I think I'm beginning to understand this whole darkness concept. Harnessing the power of your emotions or some such, yes? I remember the ancient legend about a Moogle named Mog. Rather simple name, I know. But those were simpler times. Anyway, Mog had a penchant for dancing, and... Wait, what does dancing have to do with the dark arts? Everything! The point is that your master was absolutely right when she told you to submit to the flame. You just never figured out what he meant by it. Better late than never. Master Moggy will show you the way. First, you two Dark Knights will need to put 4 sprigs of palm rot each. Hop to it. I failed to see what purpose this serves, but fine. You'll have your precious palm rot. Oh, and Rio, you could stay here with us while you're away. Let's go. Me and Sid are gonna do the whatchamacallit, it's the thing that they did, the dance that they did in Avatar. It's for the dragons, the dragon, firebending dance, that one. Don't even talk to is that hypothetical? Should I go talk to Riel and Moggy? I'm gonna go talk to Riel and Moggy. Look after him, will you? I will. Can you move? Thank you. No one will be harnessing the darkness or the abyss or whatever else unless you bring me plenty of palm rot. Nope. Higher. There we go. What's up, Sid? Strengthless pain, strengthless suffering, strengthless sacrifice. Sod this! There you are, the dearest dark one of the dark. Have you, darkest dark one of the dark? Have you brought the palm rot? Yes. Thank you. I am the darkest dark one of the dark. I must have kept you busy for a while. For your next trial, you must, call Chulahans, Kupo. There are a lot of them to be sighted on the road to Asaf. If you wait there long enough, they're sure to show up. Riel, you needn't worry about her. She stopped playing with some friends of mine. Just focus on the trial. Wait for me in Asaf when you're finished. Dorkiest dork of the dorks. Oh, I'm cool! Look at my cool behemoth sword! I got it from PvP from slaying the blood of my enemies! I'm so cool! The power of the 12 and anime on my side. What in the hells are we doing? What could the Moogles possibly know about mastering the dark arts? Foolish fools! Right then, what's all this? While you two are busy gathering Pomrot and slaying Toolahans, we kidnap Riel! Oh yes, we've had so much fun playing together, so much fun indeed! So much fun that we thought we might keep her forever! You wouldn't dare. If you don't believe us, go and look, you'll never find her, not in a million years! She's ours, you'll never see her again! You furry little shites! King Boggle is back! Give her back to me or I swear I will kill every last one of you and burn you. Honestly, fighting to Nightmare Before Christmas music is probably the most Dark Knight thing ever. It's fighting to Nightmare Before Christmas music is shortly just like barely under fighting to My Chemical Romance music. It's like so close. Rip the palm off your head and shove it down your goddamn throat. Oh, I should probably have my darkness up. Flood of darkness. Okay, I forget. So, like, because I don't read instructions, the Flood of Darkness, like, increases my DPS or something, right? Like, I want to always have the Flood of Darkness up. I don't like how, like, I go like this, and then it sometimes shoots backwards. I wish that it was easier to, like, aim in a line. Are you gonna cry now? Oh my god! The Moogles are just pissing Sid the fuck off. Hatch, you really hurt someone carrying on like that. That's the bloody point. Now tell me where she is if you want to live. Wait. Why do you want her back so badly? What kind of question is that? You kidnapped her. I mean, but, like, keeping her here is probably the safest... Like, again, we could have left her in Gridania. We could have just chilled in Gridania. Alternatively, we could, like, leave her up here, where the dragons are chilling, and, you know, they're not about to go do a whole Inquisition because peace with dragons and stuff. You don't seem like having her around. You don't seem to like having her around that much anyway, right? She's just a burden to you, so why do you care what happens to her? I swore an oath to protect her. That's what Dark Knights do. You think that'll give you strength enough to protect her? Duty and honor? I'll tell you what you need. The power of dance. This comes the true strength to defend the meek. Is it honor? Is it justice? How bland? Oh, it's in the Moggle. It's in the Moggle tune. Be the darkness is born of light, a flame burning for another. How grand! 'Tis love, an all-powerful, shining love! Rather blunt, I'll admit, but subtlety doesn't seem to be your strong suit, Kupo. Riel! Here we are. Go on, Riel, say your piece. I know you and Frey are trying to do right by your master, and that you came to my defense because you believed it's what he would have wanted, and I know you only did it because you believed it would make you stronger, because all you truly care about is killing more Temple Knights. I've seen how you look at them, how you curse them under your breath, how you relish every opportunity to cut them down, so don't tell me that it's all been for me. Don't tell me that Frey died for me. Everything I've done for my mother and my father, for my sister, and yes, for most of all, me. I haven't been honest with you, nor with myself, and for that I'm sorry. I'll stand for you in this coming trial, but what happens after will be your decision. Good. That's a promise. For what it's worth, I'm sorry you'd have to come to this. Three little bastards had us fooled, eh? Shame their wisdom's bollocks. I mean, really now, love? That's what you need to harness the abyss? I mean, I suppose there's something to be said for caring deeply for your charge, but no, I will not give these cretins even a sliver of credit. This was an utter waste of time, and that's that. Still, I'm glad to have come to an understanding with Riel. We should return to Ishgard. The hour of the trial draws close. Hashtag Ishgard did many wrongs. Yes. It's not like I care about you anyways, Riel, baka. I was about Riel's age when I came to Ishgard. My parents, they said we'd find a better life here. When the Temple Knights we'd shown mercy returned, they let us choose the order in which we would die. That will be their mercy to us, they declared. I watched my parents kneel in the dirt and look away, but I could not. At last, when it was my turn, I kneeled and prepared to follow them to death. I closed my eyes. When I opened them, a man in black stood before me, hand outstretched, and so I took it. Defend the meek, punish the wicked. Mayhap it was all a convenient excuse to indulge in vengeance. She deserves better than me, but there is no one else. One more battle. Let's see it done. Mayhap in this final battle I can serve as my master intended. It's not that I don't appreciate their help, but they really had no idea what they were singing about, did they? Countess Yistrid's massive army arrived while you were away. Massive army. Where did those words come from? While you were away. We're to meet her in the western highlands, away from prying eyes. She's gone to great lengths to conceal her husband's deeds, so it comes as no surprise that she preferred to settle this in secret. I don't know what's waiting for us out there, but if aught should happen to me, pray keep Riel safe. Right then, I believe she wanted a word with you before we left. We wouldn't have made it this far without you. I want you to know that I'm truly grateful for the time we've shared. You, Sid, and Frey taught me as much about the world, about what it means to fight for another, and what it means to fight for yourself. We're gonna finish this together, the three of us. Not else to say, really. To the twin pools, then. Let's not keep the Countess waiting. Is it closer if I went here? Yeah. I wonder how many men will she bring to kill their abomination. Seems we're early. Well, it sounds as though I had pressing business elsewhere. Enjoy a moment of respite with me? After Heaven's Word, they learned to put more than one aetheryte to a zone. Yeah. You came. A wise decision. You have his eyes, his nose, his lips. Every time I look at you, I see more and more of him, and it sickens me. Riel is not her father. You had no right to punish her for what he did. Who are you to stand in judgment of me? I have every right. I bore that monster into this world, and by the Fury I shall send it to the 7th hell. If you're so bloody fond of it, then you can follow it there. It's just us now, no one else. Remember Frey's conjury. Protect us and we'll protect you. Right then. Oh wait, hang on. Grit. Sid, why do you not have tank stance on also? They should be aggroing to you. Hang on. Darkness. Darkness. Nope, you'll never be cleansed of the taint. Damn you, get out of my way. Why do you care so much what happens to it? You're not the first person to ask me that. Once, you might have understood. For everything that you have done, you are still her mother. Go. We shall not meet again. Oh, but we will, knight, I promise you that. I will follow you to the ends of the world if I must. So long as it lives, I must. Don't you see, you fool? The Fury wills it! The Fury wills it! Can we stab her in the chest now? Riel, can you please tell me we can stab your mom? I would like to stab your mom. That's not an innuendo, like, actually just with a sword through all of her vital organs. How great your love for her. Far greater than any you ever bore from me. For a long time, I prayed for forgiveness. I prayed that you would take me in your arms and hold me as you did before. But I know that that shall never come to pass. I'll pray for you, Mother, that you might find peace in her halls. Receive of us this woman, your humble servant. Raise her up to your bosom and grant her glory everlasting. So what now? We go back to Ishgard. Together. As you wish. They can't physically cut off her head, but he hella did. Yeah. So falls House Kalinyaw. It all seems so simple in retrospect. The moment I stopped trying to find the answer, there it was. All that anger and rage born of a fervent desire to protect that which we hold most dear. So you're still committed to your path, then? And you, if you'll have me. You'll need to talk to me more, and listen. I can't stand in silence, you know. There's no shame in sharing the weight, Sid. We can bear it together, for ourselves and for others. Right then. The two of us will manage on our own. There may be others who knew of Riel's heritage, but if they come, we'll be ready. Granted, we could simply leave Ishgard, but that would leave the people at the mercy of the powers that be. I cannot do that now, and neither can Riel, I think. We all need a cause, so what will yours be? For whom will you stand? My friends... myself. It stirs within you, yearning to be free. Look within your heart and decide what sort of man you would be. But mark me well, without a flame, the abyss will take you. To walk the path is to suffer, to sacrifice. Justice demands no less. But we must never lose sight of why we chose to walk it. God's help me if those Moogles were onto something, weren't they? This includes the Dark Knight quest for Heavensward. In order to undertake the next series of quests, you must have completed the scenario of the Far Edge of Fate. Once you do so, your next quest will become available from Sid. Oh, I already can take another Dark Knight quest. Okay, cool. Ah, fellow master of the dark arts. And yet that is but one of many faces you wear. Slayer of gods, rider of dragons, savior of Ishgard, and a hero by measure who stood against Nidhogg on the steps of faith when others fled. A hero who walks in light and fights for great causes, and a knight who walks in darkness and fights for the forgotten. A contradiction, some might say. Rubbish, I say. But you tell me, do you yet walk the path? As long as as long as innocents suffer, I will not forsake the abyss. I'm an edgy boy. Let's speak as comrades. Ishgard has seen many a change in recent days, and many proclaim it to be the dawning of a new era of peace and prosperity, an enlightened age, yet as we both know, the brighter the light, the deeper the shadows. As Dark Knights, we must remain vigilant for injustice and ever be ready to defend the weak and the downtrodden, now more than ever. It's been a while since we patrolled the streets of our fair city, felt the cobbles beneath our boots and so forth. A tour from the top might be in order. Why don't we start at the last vigil? If you ask me, it's just an excuse to spend time together. As you look on Fortom Manor, you can't help but reflect on your time in Ishgard, the comrades with whom you traveled, and those you lost along the way. You seem distracted. All right, you are a ward of House Fortom. Once upon a time. Oh, I suppose not. Damnedest thing, but I swear I heard something in your pack break. My soul crystal? What happened to the other half? Oh, my sword is gone! Forgive me, it seems I'm the one responsible. I do not know you, boy. Name yourself. Mist, my lord. I'm no lord, and you're no mist. Don't think I wouldn't know a bastard of the broom by sight. I have a power which I can use to help those in need. Alas, the power requires tremendous quantity of ether. I thought to draw on natural sources nearby, but in so doing, I stole a portion of that contained within your crystal. Forgive me, please forgive me. I'll return it to you, I promise, but I must ask that you allow me to use a portion. Mist, was it? Who do you want to help? Anyone, everyone. Looking at you, look around you. Is not this world filled with sadness and despair? If I can free but a single person from their burdens. He means well enough. Why don't we help him find someone in need and give him a chance to use his power? Oh, bloody brilliant. Let's believe the mysterious boy and the mysterious power who mysteriously stole a portion of Baron's soul crystal. What could possibly go wrong? Well, it's your crystal. Either we deal with the boy here and now, or we go along with this plan. And since you're not reaching for your sword, I gather it's the latter. I can't reach for my sword. I no longer have a soul crystal. Congratulations, boy. You get your wish. We're not like to find any poor unfortunate souls in pain and need around here, so I suggest we head to the Foundation. If we find no one suitable there, you are to return what you stole at once. Understood? Yes, my lord. Thank you for placing your trust in me. Bullshit, I still have my soul crystal. You have my assurances that the remaining funds will be delivered soon. Surely it's enough to convince you to resume your work. I've got a score of clients clamoring for me services. Clients willing to pay in full, in advance. I'd be a fool to put you ahead of them. I understand that I do, but it's been an eternity since we first brokered this arrangement, and many of my clients of whom you speak have come to you but recently. I know this to be true. It's one thing to add, the scholasticate, milady, but you've got to understand me position here. Bloody politics it is. No man lifts a chisel till we're paid in full. Sorry, but that's the way it's gotta be, and blessed evening to you. I beg your pardon, I didn't notice you standing there. As you may have overheard, I'm funding the restoration of the statue of Saint, Valerian. Valerian? And as you may have guessed, it's not going well. On account of my insufficient funds and my family's growing infamy. My cousin she was Sir Ignace de Valicent of the Heaven's Word. He served as the Archbishop faithfully, together with his sworn brothers, great goodly men who were complicit in terrible crimes, if Sir Emmerich and this warrior of light are to be believed. Ignace was distraught when he learned the statue had been destroyed by the Dravanians. He took it upon himself to champion its restoration, but because of these tales, others are reluctant to involve themselves. I don't know nor care if Sir Emmerich speaks the truth. Ignace was my cousin and a man of the Fury, and I will honor him by completing his legacy. Or so I once believed. Perhaps it's indeed beyond me. We found someone, didn't we? I knew it. I knew we would. I can help her, yes. I'll make it right. I have the power. Let's not keep this poor woman waiting. Is this she, the one who you'd have me help? Is this child a friend of yours? The way he stares at me is somewhat... Do you wish to see your cousin again? Well, yes. I would love to see Ignace again, more than anything, but I know I will not. He walks in Haloni's halls, I'm certain. Think of him. Think of his face, of his smile and laugh. Remember every moment you shared, every memory, and hold that image of him in your mind's eye. And then go to a quiet place you shared where no one will come. Wait for me there. I don't really understand what this is all about, but since you seem so earnest, I'll trust in you and do as you ask. There's a garden at the south of the Tribunal, which we were both fond. I pray that you will explain all to me when this is finished. Go with her. I'll go to Sidrigu and Riel and bring them with me. Then you will all understand what I can do and why you must help. It's a promise. I think of Ignace every day, but what is this meant to accomplish? Ah, your friend's arrived. He has brought companions, I see. It cannot be! Ignace, is it really you? Praise Helona, you're alive! My dear cousin, how it warms my heart to see you in good health. I pray you will forgive me for my lengthy absence. Don't be foolish. There's only joy to see you returned. Come, we must go to your father and mother at once. How they will weep at the sight of you. I cannot. Better for them to mourn me as the son who gave his life in service to the Archbishop and his home. I have heard that you yet labor to see the statue of Saint Valerian restored. Know that I am grateful beyond measure. I'm undeserving of your praise, cousin. For all my efforts, the statue remains a shattered ruin. But seeing you here, so full of light and life, it fills me with renewed conviction. I'll go see it through, I swear to you. And if you have indeed done the things they say, then perhaps it will earn you a measure of forgiveness. I love you, cousin, now and ever after. Look after my parents and yourself. I don't know how you did it, but thank you for bringing him back to me. But you must know he is not safe here. I pray that you help him flee the city. She's right. Ishgard's no place for a man of the Heavens Ward. We will sneak him out of the city. The fewer the better. Meet us at Falcon's Nest after. We have much to discuss. I'll never forget this kindness. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Where are you guys? Down here? Hi! For fear of being seen by the sentries, I bade the others to go on ahead. We should hurry. The further they take Ignace from Mill, the weaker he'll become. I pray we're not too late. I don't understand what happened to him. God damn it, I should have known. Forgive me. Forgive me, I should have known the magic would not sustain itself much longer. That which you see before you is Ignace, what remains of him. I can give memories form, I can breathe them full of life and return them to their loved ones, but as the memory fades, so too does the magic. Ether, formless and free, that which I took and used to make Ignace and Millie whole. Draw your sword, reclaim that which was lost, consume the abyss with Soul Eater. Okay. Flame lingers. Soul Eater? Which one is Soul Eater? It's finished. Good. I've had enough of this farce. Conjuring a simulacrum of a bloody Knight of the Heavens Word in the middle of Ishgard? Fury, take me, you're a fool. We're lucky to be alive. Your soul crystal's restored, then? Or not? We had an agreement, boy. You would return that which you stole. Forgive me, forgive me. I returned to you that which was used to give Ignace life, but as for the remainder... 4 more times. It's within my power to do this 4 more times. 4 more times and you shall be made whole. You have my word. For a boy with such incredible power, you are remarkably helpless. Not only did you rob Baron of his ether, you imposed upon him and your people in need. You want to do good? You want to be a hero? You want to help people? Then why weren't you better prepared? I'll never be a hero. I only wanted to help. It's not death itself we fear, but the unfinished story, the promise of what could have been. It's enough to break a heart and a man. The shattered pieces of a life that'll never come together again, but if a glimpse of the loved ones grants them the peace they deserve, then I must. It's your decision. You're the victim. Well, he's got my ether. I'm not about to let him out of my sight. Then you'll continue to accompany me? That's a relief. We're not going anywhere, Mist. Even Sid, he might look and act like a Chocobo's arse, but he means well. Fine, fine. I'm only trying to put the fear of the gods into the little shite, but by all means, go ahead and undermine my authority. Anyway, I'd rather not freeze to death out here in the snow. Let's return to Falcon's Nest and discuss what to do next. Gosh, it sure is convenient that I still functionally perform at the same quality. That's what I needed, another child to look after. Am I a Dark Knight or a nursemaid? Even I don't know anymore. But times, they are ever-changing, and perhaps we Dark Knights must change with them. Long-held truths become lies, villains become heroes, though I should be glad if I never have to deal with another hero again. No offense, of course, but you are the exception that proves the rule. The righteous are all too uncompromising, and woe betide the man who offends their delicate sensibilities. If anything, I'd say you're too accommodating, but your ether, but it is your ether and soul crystal at stake. 4 times, he swears, we should hold him to it together. In the meantime, you may as well get some rest or attend to other matters. These two can keep themselves company. Maybe I'll find somewhere to take a nap or a tavern and have a drink. I know you'd understand. How could you not? For the most part, I'm happy to go along with Sid's act, but every now and then I have to remind him not to be so grim and dark. Okay, I'm done for now. I want to get something to eat and then probably nap before I go to work because I woke up entirely too early today and I am going to crash midway through work. I am sure of it. Let's see who we can toss things over to. We'll read Chip. They're playing Final Fantasy also. So let's go. Where's my chat? Chat. If you're on YouTube, switch.tv/chiptodurgv. Thank you for hanging out. You found the missing persons is the raid message. And I'm going to Disneyland tomorrow, so I might not be live. I think I'm probably going to try and stream Pokemon Go from Disneyland, but we'll see. Until next time, I'll see you all later. Thanks for hanging out with me.